The firm was started by my partner, who is one of the original fintech people. My partner Andrew developed the largest hedge fund database in the world. And we're using a lot of that technology and frankly a lot of that playbook and applying it to the family office space.
Okay.
So he started his own family office in 2006, and we officially launched the firm about 3 years ago.
Now, what is a family office?
So a family office is a family that's made a substantial amount of money, usually a minimum of $100 million. And they have created enough wealth where they need to start thinking about how they can deploy it outside of the sector that they made the original capital in. So either they'll use outside advisors, or they'll bring in their own financial team and look for kind of unique alpha generating opportunities that allow them to divest from their core business.
Okay, so the purpose is really to diversify a little bit their wealth and to make sure they're not totally exposed to one area, whether it's technology or biotech or whatever.
Or real estate.
Or real estate.
Whatever it might be. That's one purpose. And another purpose is to come together with like-minded individuals, especially from a deal flow perspective. One of the ways we break up our national network of family offices is we have regional family office associations in almost every money center around the country. And the reason we do that is, so for instance in New York, about 65% of the families are associated or have generated their wealth from real estate.
Okay.
And so there's a great opportunity for them to come together and share deal flow. And that really can actually enhance their core business. So that's another reason.
Okay, so it makes a lot of sense. So, and I guess where the family accumulates their wealth depends a lot geographically where they are. New York is real estate.
Yeah.
I know there's a San Diego office. Would that be biotech?
There's a lot of biotech.
Okay.
San Francisco's a lot. Now, that's not exclusive, but there is a lot. There are kind of general themes where families have generated their wealth. Dallas and Houston are typically oil and gas, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So,
now, have they built their wealth through their own companies? And do they sell the companies and then they have money to use? Or what's your typical family like?
Well, I would say it's kind of split in two. So we have a number of, let's just call them old line families that are third, fourth, or fifth generation. And those families could have been one of the original automobile families, or one of the original, let's say, Standard Oil families. And then you have newer families that have created wealth in 1,000 different ways. I mean, in our network we have families that have created substantial wealth, and they made all their money in the grocery business, or in shipping, or in alternative energy. So it can vary quite widely, and it's funny because one thing that has made the families successful is they've been myopically focused on their core business.
Okay.
And a real reason why they want to open up the family office is so that they can now see other opportunities out there from other families, either in or in other regions around the country.
I'm sure to build a $100 million business, you would need to be very focused and very much know the ins and outs and the data of whatever industry you're in, and they've not known about all these other opportunities that are going on around them.
Yeah, that's very true. And one thing that's interesting is a number of the families know so much about their core business, but they haven't really been exposed to other industries and even other financial instruments. And so there's a great opportunity for strong advisors to get involved with families and really build a relationship and really help them.
Now, what kind of opportunities do you present to these families?
So we're hoping in 2016 that 50% of the transactions and opportunities that we bring to the families are generated from other family offices. Okay, that's our goal.
Okay.
And as I said, the reason for that is, for instance, if you have a family and let's say they're window manufacturers, or let's say they're in the construction space, because they are such experts in that area, nobody is more qualified to bring a fully vetted opportunity for investment to another family than this family that's been, possibly in this industry for 100 years. And so a lot of what we bring to the other family offices are one-off transactions, either sponsored by the family or non-sponsored. We'll bring them different alternative assets, maybe real estate opportunities. It could be a private equity opportunity. It could be a hedge fund opportunity. So, there are a number of different ways. And then, we also like to bring them top-tier service providers. Our mantra is we want to include not only family offices in our ecosystem, but, service providers that are high quality and can bring opportunities to families as well.
So these would be what, like attorneys or accountants?
Yeah,
people
legal,
like
auditors. It could even be prime brokers. But what we have found, look, I have been an investor myself for well over 20 years, and if I look back, it's amazing kind of where some of my best investments have come from. And a lot of times they come from service providers that you might not normally pay attention to. But if there's an accountant and he happens to have a connection into Silicon Valley for whatever reason, it could be one of the best opportunities out there.
Interesting. And they may be in a position where they can see opportunities that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. They consult for a company that does this or that, and they can say, hey, take a look at this.
It also, I think, helps people kind of not miss the forest for the trees.
Sure.
And I think having service providers, private bankers, whatever it might be, in the ecosystem really helps families kind of get outside themselves. And listen, a large part of what they're trying to do is diversify, so it's quite helpful.
So how many family offices are there in the U.S.?
About 5,000. There's about 5,000 in the U.S.
5,000 families.
5,000 families that basically have wealth north of 100 million and are actually organized in a true family office.
Okay.
And then there's 5,000 internationally. So we deal with a lot of international families as well. We have, for every one of our geographies, right now we have 22 geographies. So we're, for instance, on the East Coast, we're in Miami, Naples, Palm Beach, Washington, D.C., New York, Connecticut, and Boston, okay? So every one of those regions has its own website, and all our websites are tagged and banded, and what it really does is it's almost like an intranet within the internet, and it brings in a ton of international families. So we recently got contacted by the largest family office in Italy, and they came to us and they said, look, we really love what you're doing. We would love to be part of this kind of transaction flow. Can we open up the Rome Family Office Association? So, that's a perfect opportunity. It's fantastic.
Sure. And then I know you have events, cocktail parties, lunches, things like that. What kind of events could somebody expect if they're a part of this?
Yeah. So our mix typically is half the time we just want to do mixers, bring families together in a relaxed environment where the family offices can get comfortable with each other, kind of share their intellectual capital, get comfortable with each other in the context of co-investing. The other half of the time we're education focused. So some of the seminars that we have coming up are family offices launching hedge funds. We're doing that in conjunction with Bloomberg. We're doing one about portfolio managers launching family offices. Next week we're doing in Palm Beach family offices that are involved in private equity and all the issues that they need to think about and consider prior to either investing in a private equity fund or getting involved in a one-off transaction. So things of that nature.
Okay. Now if somebody is interested in being a part of this, how do they go about doing that?
So they can register with our site, and then they'll go through kind of a small interview process. We'll really spend time trying to understand what's the family's goals, what stage are they in regards to the maturity of their family office. Some families come to us and they haven't established a family office yet, so we'll help them actually open up and put all the pieces in place in order to establish their family offices. And other families are completely mature and they're just transaction or deal flow focused.
Okay. Now, do you ever find that some of these families maybe will invest in a company that is close to their heart? Like maybe a family member died of colon cancer or something. And so they'll be looking at a biotech company, for example.
Oh, yes,
something
all
like
the
that.
time.
Okay.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about is we do a lot for philanthropy.
Okay.
And so, we support pediatric cancer charities, we support neurology centers that are doing research on Alzheimer's and things of this nature. And so absolutely, if there's, what you'll find, there's just kind of a natural flow. If a family member has been afflicted by, some disease, a lot of times in their research, in figuring out the best way to cure that disease, they will find companies that they think are interesting, and they'll bring it to other families. Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Listen, what's interesting about family offices is that they are in the process of becoming institutionalized. And I think there has been a long dearth of instruments out there in order to help families and in order to kind of bring families so that they're treated more like professional pools of capital. And I think we're kind of in the second inning of that, but more and more from the wirehouses all the way down to data companies and just regular technology companies. There are a number of tools and pieces that are being put in place to help families really take advantage of their organization, their family office, and leverage it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you.